Welcome to First Wing, a Fourth Wing podcast.
I'm Brianna, and this is the start of my Iron Flame journey.
And I'm Kendra, an experienced dragon rider, here to help this second year. Just a quick note, this book contains explicit content, including swearing, sex, violence, and death, and so will this podcast. These are a couple mild chapters in regards to those explicit warnings. There's going to be swearing.
Yeah, there's always swearing. Today we are discussing chapters 40 and 41. Last episode ended when she failed to raise the wards, and then she was like, I need to do something. She didn't say what, but we all knew what. And then she went to her sister and was like, I need your help. Before we get into chapter 40, though, I wanted to talk about a fun theory that was mentioned in our Discord, which, by the way, you can find in the description of our episode.
And it's been hopping recently. We've been having a lot of fun in there. Yeah.
There's one channel that I'm not allowed in, so I only have half the amount of fun. But this one person called Zulu Babe mentioned about Liam when she was being tortured, about how Liam was maybe like a gift from Malik because maybe Violet was close to death or her soul was breaking or something, and then that's how Malik was able to like send this gift or something like that. Also, other theories about how that could be possible, but I really like that because it did feel like there was more to it, and I do keep on waiting for like a sign that the gods are real. You know what I mean? Like real characters, not just kind of off in the distance or just potentially made up, who knows. So I was like, oh, that would be extra fun because then we like have Malik really in the book.
Yeah, so. Doing something. I really like that idea because there seems like there's so much more to just her hallucination there. And it would be nice to know that there was a little essence of Liam involved in helping her out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was I'm hoping we find out more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, cool. I like people putting in their own thoughts and opinions into the Discord and just being able to talk about it in between recordings and stuff, because otherwise I can't really talk about it.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, good. Chapter 40, the blurb on the top says, his first true action of rebellion was to seek allies, the first of which was Viscount Takaris of the Paromish province of Krovla. And this is about the Tirish rebellion. So, this becomes pretty obvious why we're bringing that up.
Yes. But. I was thinking, like, what was he also for the luminary back then, too? Because it doesn't seem like they ever got the luminary, so...
And also, in these chapters, you find out exactly where this guy is on the royal lineup, and I'm still like, how has no one ever said, get your head out of your ass and give us the damn luminary? Or at least put it to goddamn use.
Yes.
So confused.
Yes, it does seem like he lives like very apart from like his people.
I know, when you see his whole place
and
his
also
like
messed up.
La La Land that he's living in. Yeah.
But it is seriously like, do you want a country to rule, or are you okay with it just being completely desecrated?
Listen, we find out that the queen never marries.
Yeah. And
then names this guy who doesn't also have any kids. So I'm a little bit concerned the queen's not the best ruler in the first place. Like, I'm just like, okay. I get it. You're like, I don't want to be treated. Well, whatever. We've all read princess stories where they're like, I don't want to be sold off to someone. But like, at the same time,
you don't have to marry someone super noble. You can just marry someone.
We need some kids.
To give you kids. So it really seems like she don't want to be a mom.
I guess. Whatever it is, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
With their monarchy here.
No, it doesn't seem like they're doing a very good job.
No. Okay. So yeah, this starts out with, I kind of love this first paragraph because she's like, yeah, so Xaden vetoed my idea of going to Corden again.
Yeah.
I took him to bed. That was fun, you know?
Yeah.
This is like, okay. So she basically, said, well, in her head was like, that's fine. I'm not going to really ask him, but, let's have some good sex.
Yeah.
And then maybe he'll take off.
She was content with her own plans.
Yeah. She was just like, whatever. Anyways. And then she said that he like disappeared.
Yeah.
Before she even woke up in the morning because he's, off doing his stuff. Oh, he was looking for more Navarian deserters,
Yeah. Although, not for long.
Yeah, how far did he make?
Well, no, I guess that she does have her training lesson first and stuff.
Oh, yeah, there is a whole... there's a whole day that goes by.
Yeah.
Because it's the next morning pre-dawn. Yeah. Okay, fine. So he could... Who knows where he went.
He had some time to do something.
Okay, so... Yeah, so then basically after that little comment about how sore she is after some nice sex with Xaden, so look at, we get some off the page sex, guys.
That's true.
I forgot about that. Sorry. Anyways, Felix, one of those assembly members that was not an asshole.
The one that we like.
The one we like, even though he's a little rough here, but it's like, again, it's more like tough love type of thing. But anyways.
Yeah, he's also bringing up great points.
I know, I love it. I actually love it.
He's not even saying like, Violet, you are terrible. He's like, Violet, you were not trained.
He does
you're
in the beginning,
dumb, not realizing that you haven't been trained well.
In the beginning, he's a little insulting, but he does eventually say like, I'm just mad at Carr because he's an idiot, and I just hoped he wasn't an idiot anymore. You know?
But I think he's also like, you're a little bit of an idiot for not realizing that this was a problem.
Yeah.
Like, what was your long-term plan here, Violet?
It's possible. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. It is like that. So so Felix is out. They're out on a mountaintop. And he's wanting to find out, like, what does she know and stuff. And she basically explained that she's never learned how to aim. She says specifically, it's just that Carr never cared where I struck.
Yeah. Right. This was actually the first moment I realized he was never teaching her to aim.
Yeah. Like, what was he teaching her?
I didn't know that before now. I thought that they were always practicing aim as well as whatever, like how many strikes.
Yeah. So she was just like, it's just that how many strikes per, like,
yeah, because I kept on being like,
more strikes.
I kept on being like, wow, she's really bad. She still hasn't learned how to aim. But it's like, oh no, she was just never being taught this entire time.
Yes.
So yeah, that was actually the first time I realized that.
100%. Yeah. So I don't know why this is what comes in my head. I was gonna say it's like learning how to sit on a bicycle going downhill, but never learning how to pedal, brake, or steer.
Yeah, I feel like
and
that's
maybe
just
learning how to like jump off and like tumble so you don't die, and that's it, right?
Maybe not even that.
Maybe not even that. Okay, so Felix looks at her like she's grown another head. I love that. He's like, well, I guess we'll see what that technique has gotten us, right? And she's like, she's so proud. I can wield 26 an hour. I've been pushed over 40, but I was being punished at that point. And he's like, for what? And it says he watches me with an expression I'm too jaded to call compassion.
Yeah, and I was like, that's because they don't show compassion at Viscount. So I think she's having a hard time believing that, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, the professor is going to give her any kind of compassion.
Yeah, I think Emeterio showed like the most amount.
Yeah, in that one way where he's like, if I had a favorite student, I would tell that.
And then she was like, thanks for caring. And he's like, I never said I did. Like, exactly like that. Like, that's just how they're supposed to be there. So
totally. Yeah, I don't know if we find out what Felix was before or not, but you get this idea that he was definitely part of something. I mean, like, he definitely knows Carr.
Yes.
He maybe was even a professor for all we know. So she explains it was because she ignored a direct order so she could protect her dragons. And I don't know, he doesn't say anything about that. She lets out a lightning strike. And he's like, try again, because she doesn't hit anywhere near the boulders. And she tries again, and it's like done within like a minute. And she's like, oh my gosh, I was so proud of myself. I could get another one in a minute. And his response is, what was that shit?
Yeah.
And she's like, but I did it less than a minute. And he's like, if those boulders were dark wielders, you and I would be dead by now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many you can strike all over the place if they can just walk to you and kill you, or even put their hand down and suck the ground. You know?
Yeah. No, it's not really that helpful.
No, and he's like, let's try the revolutionary tactic of aiming, shall we?
I know.
And he's being sarcastic, and she's just sort of like frustrated and whatever. There's a lot of back and forth. He's like, it's a wonder you haven't hit yourself. And she's like, I can't aim. And he's like, well, you can. You aimed enough to hit a dark wielder. And then she says, I'm so surprised that you didn't note this.
Well, we kind of already talked before about how she's just free to say stuff now that she wasn't free to talk about before.
Well, this surprised me. This is not her thing. She says, that's because Endarna stopped time, but she can't do that anymore. So I'm left with what got us through the other portion of the battle, the good old strike and pray method.
I mean, she doesn't say that Endarna was a
but it's obvious they've talked about it. He doesn't even blink an eye. So someone's had this conversation. Maybe they got okay to say it, but it's so weird to me that, like, I thought this was dragon matter.
Gale said it was okay for Xaden to bring it to the assembly when explaining everything about... I mean, because here's the thing. Darna did show up and started going into dreamless sleep at Xaden's place.
She showed up small and gold, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then turned out.
So that's why I'm guessing they know. But knowing that you can wield magic directly from Feathertails is another matter.
I know, I'm so surprised, and I've never noticed that. Like, I'm just like, wait, why are we talking so openly? But maybe somehow this has just been determined that they...
Yeah, it does feel like there could have been a note about why this is okay to talk about, but I have to assume it's because Endarna showed up the way she did, and Xaden had to explain so much because they
could have totally skipped the time thing. Like, it could have just been like, yeah, Velvetos are really actually babies. Yes.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're saying.
It doesn't seem like he knew the time thing specifically, but...
I know. It's weird. It's weird. She said it. I don't know why. There you go. If anybody has a theory onto that, feel free to tell us.
Yeah. But she didn't say she could wield directly from Indarna. She just said Indarna stop time. She can't do that anymore.
Oh, okay. Good point. Fair enough. Okay, good. So he says, explain again, how did you, do the aiming? And she explains, okay, so I pulled it, I released the strike, I wrestled in place while she held time. And he's like, okay. He's like, and so this is where he basically starts asking her, and he finds out that she literally went straight from just large lightning strikes. She doesn't know anything about this lightning flowing from her hands.
I know.
Right? She's like...
I feel like we kind of talked about this before, because we were like, well, she can do it.
Yeah, one time it said something about it was coming. Definitely didn't come from the sky.
Yeah, because it happened inside her bedroom.
Yeah.
And it didn't break... It wasn't breaking the windows. It didn't break the window, and it happened in the bedroom.
Yeah. He's like, you just started throwing around bolts and never refined the skill. Anyways, it definitely makes you so mad at Carr.
I know. Don't you want her to be a good weapon? It doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he's just dumb or if he's exactly what he says here, which he says scared, but I don't know. It seems weird. He laughs sort of not really happily, and he says, you just might wield the most devastating signet on the continent, but you know nothing about it, nothing about the energy fields that draw it. Instead of shooting your power like an arrow, precise and measured, you're just heaving it around like boiling oil, hoping you hit something.
Yeah.
And he says, and lightning comes from the sky or the ground, depending on the storm, so why not your hands? It's just very interesting,
Yeah, definitely.
But he is consistently kind of pushing her a little bit, like her buttons a little bit here, and she just explodes.
And almost kills them both.
I mean, 20 feet away. And he literally doesn't even skip a beat. He's like, and not only can you not aim, but you have no control.
He's like, oh, great, you also can't control your temper.
And then she tries to defend herself, and he literally says, no, that wasn't a question. That was a fact. And then he's like, how often does that happen? And then she's thinking, when I'm angry or I'm in Xaden's arms. Like, too often.
Yup.
Yeah. So then he hands her this little orb. And it's interesting. It has these metal strips that are kind of like basically like lining out the quarters of the orb, if you want to say. Yeah. But then in the middle is this like medallion, and it's alloy. Now this is very interesting. They just talk about it as alloy, right? It says a silver medallion of alloy, the size of my thumb. So that's inside this orb, right?
Yes.
They refer to alloy all the time. But do you know what alloy is? Alloy is...
It's just
a definition of something that is a mixture of more than one metal.
Yeah.
So like steel is an alloy. Yeah. Why are we calling it alloy? Like, why is there not a name for this alloy?
I don't know. It does. It's a good question, but you do instantly know what they mean.
Yeah.
By that.
So I guess this alloy is called alloy.
Maybe in this world, alloy is metal mixed with magic.
Maybe, because it is definitely
it's always not magical.
It can't just be two metals put together. There's got to be... Well, this is the one. Is this the one that's made up with dragon? Does dragon eggshells part of this thing? Or that's something else?
That is what is in the alloy that they make the daggers. That
but I think this is the same alloy.
Then it would be.
I'm just guessing.
I thought it was maybe a different alloy because it's doing something different. I don't think her daggers can absorb her electric power. That's why I'm thinking alloy just means metal mixed with magic, but they can do all sorts of things.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So he explains it's a conduit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He explains that lightning can appear from various sources, but she's the vessel. She's the pathway. She's the cloud, basically. Right? How else can you wield from a blue sky? You ever think about that?
Right.
Which she never thought about. Yeah, like there's no cloud. You still got the lightning to strike,
Yes.
And she says, I never thought about it. And this is when he says, no, you were never taught it. Your lack of aim of control is not your fault. It's Carr's.
Right. And this is where I'm just like, well, I have to imagine that Carr's a good teacher in general. So why was he doing such a bad job?
You would think so if he's been there long enough. Not even
explaining it to her. Like, it just seems so odd.
Yeah, she tries to compare herself to Xaden here, but again, it's not the same signet. So Xaden can handle shadows. Yes, there has to be shadows.
Yeah.
He doesn't create them. It says like he controls and increases what already exists, but he very specifically says you wield pure power.
I know.
That takes the form of lightning.
I know.
It's the second time they've said something about this where it's not her signet is not particularly
I know.
light. We refer to her signet as lightning, but it's not. He says
But
you
it's
wield pure
so
power.
crazy because even Taryn called her
Lightning wielder.
lightning wielder,
I know.
and you'd think he would know, but I don't know. I mean, I guess he's just a
Maybe
dragon.
not. He's just a dragon. I mean, they mentioned there hasn't been one in a long time or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I like to imagine that we're building to a point of knowing that her power is more than this, because it feels like there's hints. Even the Venom called her something a little bit different.
what did he call her? Do you remember?
It was like, I thought it had something to do with like the sky or something.
Yeah, he says something about the power to command the sky, right? It was the girl Venom.
Yeah.
The female Venom.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm just like waiting to be like, so is there more to it? Can she manifest it a bit differently?
Yeah, because that's a weird one. Command the sky, when we're also just saying right here, like, it doesn't have to come from the sky. So
Right?
Sort of like it's almost like no one really knows.
Mom commands the sky more, like, because that would be controlling all the
controlling
weather.
the weather. Yeah, it is fascinating.
Yeah,
very fascinating. Okay, this is where Felix says, like, she's like, well, why wouldn't Carr have taught me properly? And he says, knowing Carr, I'd say he's scared shitless of you. After all, you just took half of their cadets without even a plan. You brought down Bisgayeth on a fucking whim, no less. And he is proud of her here, kind of. But she's like, I didn't do that. She doesn't like to be responsible for this because she still feels kind of fucked up about it.
Yeah.
But she's like, Xaden did that. And then I like how he says, he hunted riderless wyvern, deposited them on Melgren's front door, and exposed Navarre's greatest secret to the border outpost before noon. Just like, casual day. And then he's like, but you were the one who demanded to give the cadets a choice. In that moment, you wielded him, our unyielding, uncompromising, headstrong heir apparent.
Yes. That's like the best line.
And she's like, I did no such thing. She's like freaking out here. And I'm just like, girl power here. Like, take it.
Exactly. I know. I agree.
Like, he did it for the sake of the other cadets. She says this. And then he says, he did it for you. The wyvern, the exposure, breaching Basgaiath.
Also, he did not care about it like that.
No, he was
even
like,
during it, he was like, I don't think this is a good idea. And she's like, shut up, we're doing it. And he's like, fine.
Yeah, totally. He was also like, you thought this was a great plan when Dane was screwing it up. Yeah. I know. So he says, the wyvern, the exposure, breaching Bisgayeth, stealing half its riders, all for you. Why do you think the assembly wanted to lock you away in July? They saw what you were. In that way, I suppose you're just as much a danger to Orisha as you are to Bisgayeth, aren't you? Power isn't only found in our signets.
Right, so that's where he's saying, like, he's not claiming
he's not really saying that's the power
that's
she
her
has.
Power, but that she has power beyond it. Beyond just her saying just... Like, as a human.
So she does kind of like freak out a little bit here, and her like power does come out, but she's holding this orb, and it just she says it like
crackles through her, but it doesn't flash in the sky. The lightning runs into the pendant,
and it says where her forefinger rested against the metal strip. From there to the alloy pendant inside, and it's like a little bolt that vanishes. Also, while this is happening, I like how she says, I'm not powerful just because he loves me. And he's like, no, you're powerful and he loves you, which is even worse. He says, your power is too closely tied to your emotions. This will help. And then now he's back to the orb again. And it'll keep everybody safe, from your temper. So he explains here, and this is interesting, right? This is runes. We've been bringing this up throughout this whole time, and this is the first time it's being explained to us in some way.
It's being proven, like, yes, runes are magic.
Yeah.
But before that, it was like, we're not saying it, but it's very clear.
Yeah, there was some sort of, like, mentions, but never really, and she wasn't catching up on, or picking up on it. So he says, the runes etched into the conduit are woven to draw specific power. I wove these specifically for you the last time you were here, but you were forced to leave before I could teach you how to use it. I'd hope you wouldn't need it, honestly, but it seems Carr hasn't changed much in the 6 years I've been gone.
Oh, there you go.
He says I've been gone. So that's why I kind of was wondering if he was at Bisgayeth. But anyways.
Probably, yes.
Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye if they ever mention that. I don't know. So then she's asking, like, runes? Like, doesn't know anything about it? Because she doesn't. And he says, yes, runes. Wielded power woven for set purposes.
So do you still think that Xaden teaching her how to... I mean, I know I'm asking you this, even though it was my theory. But Xaden was teaching her how to do the tierge knots.
Yeah.
And I was thinking there's more to this than just tierge knots. He wants to teach her how to, like, weave something else. Maybe, like, just... Because we talk about weaving wards.
Wards, yeah.
But I was also thinking the runes, because they hadn't really come up that much. Anyways, so I wonder if... It says woven right here, wielded power, woven for set purposes.
Yeah, I would say you were right.
If that would help her.
I would say that you were right. Whether, and if it's proven here later, doesn't really matter at this point, because now we're getting... I wouldn't have said it back then, because The point is that now we're getting that there is something here that we didn't know before.
Yeah, and the word woven specifically.
Yeah, there's also,
caught my eye there.
I don't know if you'll remember at some point, there was a time where something specifically she had that had runes on it did a very specific set purpose.
It opened the door.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, her daggers opened that door.
So it says for set purposes. So that's just, it's interesting. It's like it's woven for a set purpose, not...
And then but it said she got the similar feeling from the ward in her bedroom.
Oh, that's right. It did say
and then that is why I was like, well, so is that just Xaden's magic? So I still wonder, is that specific feeling the feelings of Xaden's magic? Because that would be Xaden wielding it. Or is it possible that her specific... They talked about, those professors talked about how strongly warded her room is.
Yeah.
Maybe he used runes to even help ward her room.
Yeah, it's possible.
To make it so that, like, only she could lead people in, or, like, really specific, like, no one can hear unless they're
So it's not
inside.
just your average wards, but actually ruined wards.
Yeah.
So he says, which you know nothing about because Bisgayath doesn't teach Tirish runes, even if that college was fucking built on them.
Yes. So that, I was like, okay, that is interesting. I wonder what type of runes it was built on. For strength?
And what are those, those ruins...
What are they doing?
Yeah.
And is it for the building or is it for the people inside? To make the people more ruthless? Like, that's what I would wonder.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It's like to make them more ruthless or make them less emotional, make them more cutthroat or something.
That would
Could
be
runes do that? Could they do that to your minds? Maybe, maybe not. Or is it just like the strength of the building so that dragons
someone has
can
the
land
power, could someone who has the power to do it wield that power in a rune? Because it's your wielded... I don't know if it's...
Do you think that, like, Dane could wield a object that could help others, like, look into the minds of others?
I think this opens the doors to so much that it's not even funny.
But he might have to create that rune because it might not exist.
It might not exist, yeah. So he'd have to be smart.
Be like a whole
which we don't know if Dane's smart or not, so we're not sure.
Assuming Violet does it for him, do you think that's...
I'm going to say that sounds pretty cool.
That would be so sick.
Okay, so he does mention that we'll ask Trissa, and Trissa's mentioned earlier as one of the other people who wasn't a bitch. Ask Trissa to teach the class. She has the most patience out of the assembly.
A class about runes.
About runes, yeah. So he said that, like, he made this orb thingy. It's as a simpler way to imbue power into an alloy. It will draw it from you when it threatens to overpower you. So it's like almost like when it comes out of her, it draws it out of her. And he says, or if you choose to direct it. So either it overpowers you or if you choose to direct it. And he says, hopefully in small, controlled amounts. Practice this week. You have to learn control, Sorengale, or you'll continue to be a threat to everyone around you. God forbid you're flying in the clouds with your squad the next time you lose your temper.
Great point.
She says, I'm not a threat, which I just think is a little dumb.
So blame yourself for everything except for the strike that happened 20 feet away.
Yeah. I love how she's like, I'm not a threat. And he's like, what you want to be doesn't change what you are without work. And I was like, he has good words.
She's probably meant to say, I'm not a purposeful threat.
Yeah, but it's not a bad point. She's in a cloud. She loses her, her
and Taryn get into a fight.
Yeah, he doesn't generally get her that riled up.
Her and Xaden get into a fight.
There you go. That's who'll get her riled up. So he is basically saying, take it slow. You have to master these basics, right? Small, precise strikes. Small strands of your power instead of whatever Indune's name that was. And she's like, I don't have time for this. I need help today. We need Takaris to give us a luminary. And she's like, and he goes, or you and Xaden fucked the entire movement on that whim I mentioned earlier. And she's like, yeah, something like that. It was a lot easier last year when all I had to worry about was keeping myself alive, not the entire continent. Yep. So then he just basically says, like, listen, as for Takaris, he wants to see you wield, not necessarily see you wield well. Right now, your biggest... when we get there. Your biggest obstacle is convincing Xaden to go because he's probably not budging, right? Yep. And then he's basically saying, like, right now, that's not your
he's like, don't worry about that because you're going to take it forever to convince him. And she's like, well, she's like, nope, here's the thing. I'm going anyways.
That's right. So they're done for the day. He's saying, like, if you don't show that you're actually working on it, I'm not going to teach you because there's other people out there that need to learn too.
Yes.
So she looks around, she kind of like really takes in everything he says. And then she thinks to herself, Xaden might be a weapon, but I'm a natural disaster. Yeah. And she's like, I'm not going to let everyone suffer because I can't get my shit together. So she says out to, what's his name? Felix, I want to learn. And then she thinks, as soon as I get back.
I know. And I was like, okay, good. So we are leaving soon then. Yeah. Because I didn't know how soon she was planning on going on this little trip.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. So we have page break. and this is them leaving. So we start out only knowing that Mira's here.
Yeah.
There's this whole conversation. She's like, Mira's like, are you sure of this? And she's like,
it's
this
not
could
even,
be.
yeah, it's definitely before dawn because it's the brightest moon this month.
It says, yeah, and it says every
pre-dawn frost is
pre-dawn
reflecting.
frost, which is weird because a little bit later it says something about darkness after the morning, and I was so confused by that, but that's fine. So Mira's like, are you sure about this? Because this could have some major consequences, right?
Yeah.
And Violet's like, yeah, I'm sure this is the only way we're going to be able to make the weapons we need. And I'm sure that if we stay on task, we can be back in 2 days max. I'm also sure this will stop the Griffin attacks on Navarian outposts, because if they're creating their own weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. But am I sure that we won't fail or end up permanent guests of Viscount Takaris? No. And then Mira's like, well, I'm sure Zayden's going to lose his shit when he finds out you went behind his back.
I know, I was actually worried about this a little bit. I was like, is he going to get, like, really mad at her and then take forever to forgive her? No, not really. Not yet,
they do have that we're mad at each other, but at the same time, you're still hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Kind of
They
vibe
can't stay
going
mad
on.
when they are looking at each other. They can only be mad when they're far apart.
Especially when she's wearing this plunging neckline of a black, almost see-through dress.
Yeah.
We're jumping ahead of ourselves. So what does she say? She says Zayden will forgive me as soon as he realizes we're back. And I'm like, have you not been with Zayden for the last year?
Yeah, because you forgave him so fast.
Yeah, come on. Anyways, so Mira says, just, I'm only doing this because doing everything you ever asked for the rest of our lives still wouldn't make up for me not believing you. And I just thought that was just so sweet.
Yeah.
She could have been like, I said I'm sorry, now leave it alone. But she's like, no, I'm literally still mad at myself.
Even though Violet didn't say that much, she said things, and when Mira kind of shut it down, she went along with it. But still, Mira, yeah, I like that she's like, I really should have seen the signs then.
Violet didn't say, please, Mira, please, I need your help. And
right.
She'd say, no, you're stupid. It wasn't like that, but still.
Yeah.
Also, Violet had mentioned like something about he refuses to do whatever needs to be done just in the name of protecting me. Like she's complaining about him protecting her. And then Mira's like, I happen to like protective Zayden. It makes me worry about you less.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit going on here where she's like, throughout these chapters, where she's like, you are overstepping your boundaries. Like you are overprotecting. You've gone from, well, she calls him Dane at one point.
Yes.
But
exactly.
yeah, that he is being overprotective. So.
Yeah, because this does seem like, I mean, we said a while ago, like, you just gotta go. Like, you have to go to him.
Yeah. You mean Takaris.
Yeah.
Like, it just has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And Zayden should be able to see that.
Yeah.
But he's too clouded by his emotions.
And I will say, he literally just rescued her from being tortured.
And the other time that they talked about it in July was right after she had almost been killed as well.
Yeah. And I think it's just taken a toll on him.
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses. Maybe I am. Whatever.
I'll make excuses for Zayden all day long.
So, and then this is where Brennan chimes in, and I was like, oh, that's right, Brennan's with him. And he says, and I'm only doing this to make sure neither of you die.
Yeah, I know. I was like, yay, family trip.
I know. It was a great little interchange here, too, that's really funny. But yeah. Mira's like, please, you're only here because of the rank on your uniform. And he's like, yeah, well, neither of you guys can negotiate this deal, right?
Yeah.
So, but he's kind of like, this is still a risk. And Violet is like, yes. But he wants me to wield for a luminary. Even Zayden says the biggest threat is him keeping me, not killing me.
And then she thinks that if she has to stay, then she has to stay.
She does think that, which I'm like, how hard does he keep people? Like, how does this work? Because even later, we don't...
Taryn. Like, you really think you're going to be held against your will?
That. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. We see a little bit more later, but...
Yeah, like how he is manipulative and he does...
I guess, yeah.
Word things a very specific way for a very specific reason. But the thing is even then, it was only like, okay, if you do this, we'll get you the luminary. But it's like, okay, if you don't do this, we'll just still be in the same position we were before. You know what I mean?
Either way, it's like we still have to do something.
We end on such a cliffhanger, but it's just like, well, technically you could just be like, okay, I give up.
Yeah.
And Zayden could come rescue you, and you guys would just be back at square one. You wouldn't have
lost anything.
But
very true. Okay, good. So here, Mira starts to like basically argue with Brennan, and then this is where Violet's like, no, we're not fighting the entire way there. We sure as hell can't fight once we get there. This is dangerous enough as it is. Pull yourselves together and quit squabbling. And then I love this. Mira goes, yes, Mom. And then everyone goes silent. And then she's like, too soon? Violet says, I'd say so. And Brennan's like, definitely. And then they all like smile a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I thought it was funny too. Okay, so now she's getting on Taryn and she's like insulting him by asking if he knows the way.
Yep.
I think that's a fair question. Does he know everything? Whatever. He's just so proud. He also says, she's also asking about Sigale and he's like, she's out of range, but her emotions are calm. And she says, and you promise not to tell her until we're back? And his answer is, she's already gone. Which does no promise, by the way.
Does not say
promise. Yes. But then he says, the hungry one has been seething since this afternoon when she found out she wasn't coming.
Yeah, new nickname unlocked for Andarna, and it's even better.
Oh, hungry one. My God.
Very great.
It's funny. She's still chasing sheep, probably.
Yeah. Sulkily. Or seethingly.
What? Oh, sulkily. Wow. I was like, what language was that? Okay, good. So apparently Rhiannon's the only one left there that knows that they're going. And she's going to like make, I don't know, distract people or make excuses for them. I don't know. How she can explain. How she can explain out not just a cadet, but a lieutenant and a lieutenant colonel all disappearing.
I mean, it says as much as possible.
Yeah. So they're flying. It's really cold, either because it's late in fall. It's late in fall, and they're high up. I think it's generally cold flying high up anyways, but now it's even worse.
Yeah, it even says flying for any amount of time this late in fall isn't for the faint of heart. So I wonder if in general they try, I mean, there's still a war going on, but if they try as much as possible not to travel during the cold months.
I don't know.
It did say that last year, because we've done a whole year in this universe already, that when it was really cold out, it said that they weren't doing flight maneuvers for a bit.
That's true.
Their dragons didn't want to. Were refusing to fly.
So remember, it was pre-dawn, right?
Yes.
And we don't have to discuss this. I'm just pointing it out because it was weird. It says Tarn flies through the morning, right? And then it says, as we glimpse Krovla's second most populous city, Drathis, right? To the south. And continue into the darkness ahead. I
mean, there's a chance that the way the sun rises, that they're flying
away from time, like into the past or whatever you kind of call it.
Yeah, something like that. Like they're like
True.
As they're traveling, the sun isn't quite catching up with them, so they're flying into darkness.
I did actually have that brief thought for a second. It was just weird.
Yeah, I mean it
not important.
Weird, not important. Could definitely be a mistake, but that would technically explain it.
Okay, good. We'll keep going. Taryn calls her Silver One, tells her to sleep because she's gonna have to perform, right? So she tries to sleep. It's not easy. She does, get some sleep, but then she mentions how the land, like, they start to, like, get towards the beaches and there's, like, blue-green sea and how beautiful that is. And that just sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it also makes me excited because next month I am going on a cruise and I am going to see some beautiful, lush islands, and I'll be thinking of this.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So here she's, like, getting more and more worried as they get closer and closer, and then a drift of 3 griffins appears in front of them, like in an attack formation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Taryn says, okay, they're just escorting us to Corden. So obviously he's getting some sort of communication from them. He then says, see that sorry excuse for a fortress on the eastern side of the farthest peak? And she's like, oh, you mean the palace? It looks like it's glowing. And then he's all grumbly about it. He's like, the entire thing is ridiculous, indefensible. And it is, but it also sounds amazing.
The only beautiful thing she's seen in her whole life.
Yeah, she's like, I love this. It's just like, it's kind of like sitting there like, we're not trying to protect ourselves, so she's saying there's none of those and no high walls and stuff like that. It's indefensible, but it's like gorgeous, basically.
Yeah.
Colorful gardens, like little waterfalls, like whatever.
Gosh, we're about to find out so much.
We are about to find out so much. So they land with the griffins ahead of them, right? And I love how Taryn is like kind of like edging into the griffins too close, and she's like, stop intimidating them. And he's like, I can't help their inferiority.
I know.
I love him. I just love him. He says, you will not be happy with the welcome we're about to receive.
I know. And I was like, okay, so here, didn't think it was going to be Xaden. I did think, I was thinking, like, I don't imagine that she's not going to be happy with the welcome because they're going to be, like, really aggressive or really, like, trying to fight or whatever, because that's more like what she's expected. So I was thinking, like, maybe they're going to be, like, too welcoming to a point that it's, like, disconcerting, which is kind of true a little bit, But no, what he's just referring to Zayden. But I
And
was
how,
thinking,
again,
like,
he doesn't say anything.
he really
he
could
really
have. I
doesn't.
say that here. I said, like, so that's what Taryn meant. He really could have clarified.
Yes.
Like,
He could have. Like, he doesn't say, like, oh, well, so much for not telling Segale she's here and so is Aiden. No, he's like Dumbledore in his finest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not going to find out anything from me. You're just going to figure it out yourself.
No, and he's like, I'll pretend to be helpful so you don't get mad at me. But I'm really not going to be.
So funny. It's so funny. Okay, so, so he says that about not being happy with it, and she doesn't know what he's talking about, but they get down. They, like, the Griffin writers, the flyers look a little bit, like, antagonistic and stuff, you know? So they're kind of standing there and, like, facing them down with their griffins and, like, you know, not letting them
this
pass.
all just seems so unnecessary knowing that Zayden's already there, too.
100%.
Yeah. Zayden should just be like, yeah, no, I know them all.
Yeah.
And I know why they're here. Let's go.
No, they're not going to do that.
No.
They gotta also show to a degree that they're not just, that there is some sort of protection, I guess, happening on this completely indefensible structure. I don't know.
With 3 dragons who can incinerate them all.
I know, like, literally in no time. Come on, people.
Gosh.
So they are saying that, she is saying they're awfully brave, like, trying to block these humongous. I mean, Taryn is probably the biggest dragon they've ever seen.
Yes.
So Brennan says that they're expecting them, and that there's a whole bunch of people, like, behind them that he can't see, but also people in the balconies watching, and no one's screaming from the dragons. So they're like, okay, they kind of expected us, right?
Right.
So then Brennan says, be careful what you say in here. Takaris will hold us to whatever deal we make. He doesn't take kindly to broken words. And keep your shields up, though I'm not sure they'll do much good. And then he explains flyers might not wield signets, but most of their lesser magic gifts involve mind work.
Yeah. It said this is the one area where they have the upper hand on us.
Oh.
And I was like, really? Like, the upper hand? Wow.
So it's almost like maybe because they don't have bigger powers, they've really honed those.
Yeah, I guess that they're just focusing all of their energy on that.
But the fact that they so we know lesser magic, right? So we've learned that, like, somehow lesser magic makes an ink pen work, whatever that word means. Sure. Right?
Also,
we've learned you can turn on and off lights or something, you know, like
Mage
Lumos
lights.
and Nox.
And they can make, like, those shields.
Shields.
They're called.
They can learn to weave wards.
Yeah.
They can. Yeah, so those are all lesser magic. And I'm pretty sure that they do learn those things in Car's class.
Yes. Yeah,
because they can't do that until they start, because not until they start, what's it called? Channeling, that they can start using those lesser magics. Okay, so we know that. We know all that stuff is lesser magic. So it's never mentioned that there's any mind lesser magic, ever. So is this a flyer thing? And that's why they have that above them? Because maybe...
Well, but making mental shields is lesser magic. So that's mind work.
That is.
So
interesting.
I think that I would guess that all writers could do pretty cool mind work, but that leadership doesn't want them to because of their secrets. So yeah, that's what I would think. I would think that they're only taught how to block, and then it's like, no. The rest of that's all lesser. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, the writers never learn any good mind gifts other than shielding. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're good at, like he says, I don't know if it's going to do much good, so maybe they're good at breaking the shields.
Yeah, or finding any little hole or crack.
Well, somehow she's gotten through.
I mean, I would guess if you imagined it, like, she imagines her, her archives and her shields, like, brick by brick, she says stuff like that. But if you imagine it more like how your mind really is, I bet you the passage that Kat got in is like that tiny, whatever teeny kernel of insecurity that already exists. That's how she can.
Yeah, she just rode on that little wave. Yeah,
into her mind.
Yeah, because how they're imagining things is not. It's how they're controlling their mind, but it's not really how the mind is built. She doesn't really have an archives. But no, this is a good point, because remember she said that her shields were so good that Zayden couldn't reach her. But guess who could reach her?
Yeah, but Kat. What was she thinking about? I mean, Kat was there already, like, taking up space in her mind.
Yeah, so that means that it has to work a little different in some way than.
Yeah.
All right, so he makes that, comment and sort of leaves it there. Okay, so they approach, and then it says, we kind of find out here that, that one of those guys is a cadet, because we were reminded that Cliff Spain Flight Academy was in Zolia. So obviously that got burned to the ground, or whatever you want to call it, sucked death, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So a third of the ranks are sheltering it in here, which is Corden. Is that right? Or
yes.
No, I always get mixed up between Yeah,
Samara.
Caldera is the other one.
Or Caldera, sorry.
Yeah. So they're in Corden. Okay. Also, okay, so Brennan approaches and speaks in Provolish, and then the guy answers in common language and makes this comment, something like, not every kingdom thinks theirs is the only language that should be spoken. So basically, like,
Yeah.
the Navarre citizens are not taught other languages to have any other kind of communication. They're not. The only reason, Violet knows these things is because her dad taught her them, and
it's for like
scribe
translation
stuff,
and for stuff like that.
Yeah. And Brendan probably learned because he's been living there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And obviously dealing with these people. So anyway, so I thought that was an interesting kind of insult that was true.
Yep.
This guy, one of the flyers, says you have to give us one truth before you can meet the Viscount. And that's where they realize he is a truth sayer. But he's like, we don't label ourselves by our abilities. But yes, I have the gift of telling when someone is lying.
Which
so
again,
it does sound
would be like mind work.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, good. So here we go. She says her truth is, Violet, I'm here to wield lightning in return for asking your Viscount for help.
Right.
It's true. Brennan says, I'm here to broker a deal for your luminary in return for weaponry. It's true.
Right.
Mira says, fine, and then sighs. Make one wrong move towards my sister and I'll gut you like a fish. That goes for everyone in this city. How is that for honest? And I love how like Violet's kind of like, oh shit. And then
even Brennan.
Like,
oh gosh.
He's like, damn it, Mira. And the flyer's mouth curves into a toothy smile. I can respect that. Also, she told the truth.
Yep.
And then they part, and there's a figure dressed entirely in black. And of course, the minute it says his jaw flexed, you had to know that was Zayden.
Yes.
It's like she's like, his jaw flexes, his hands curl at his sides, and his beautiful face. Well, he hasn't looked at me with that much anger since discovering my last name at Parapet, back when he wanted to kill me. Guess I should be careful what I ask for because I'm so fucked. Because just earlier she was like, I kind of wish he'd be back to trying to kill me again because it's less annoying than hovering, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, damn, I shouldn't have thought that. And then he's like, you aren't where I left you, Violence.
I know. Great closing line of this chapter.
Know.
Yeah.
I know. Even though she really takes offense of the way, like, where you left me, she does really take offense of that, which makes sense, but still. Okay, chapter 41, blurb on top. Having refused every proposal from the Isle Kingdoms, Queen Mariah, sure, has named her distant cousin, Viscount Takaris of Corden, as her heir. As the Viscount is living in his 5th decade, so he's not a young person, and has no direct heirs of his own, the decision has not been a popular one. And this is, again, where I said earlier, like, she doesn't sound smart. Yeah. Anyways, this book is written by Pearson Keto.
Right. New person. I don't think we've heard of him yet.
No.
Also, the Isle Kingdom. So the proposals, that means like a proposal. Like, will you marry me, Queen Mira?
No, Mariah. I want to say Mariah, even though it's not spelled like any other Mariah. But if you go, or Mariah.
Maria.
No, I'm just going with Mariah, everybody.
Anyways, so I guess that they were trying to unite the countries by proposing or whatever. And she refused them, but it's like that couldn't be your only
specifically the Isle
options.
Kingdoms too.
Couldn't you just marry someone from your kingdom?
Right.
Doesn't seem like that's the only options. Whatever. Right. And then this on the aristocracy of
Romeo.
Yeah. I'm like, what are the chances that Violet Soriel has read this book? Or is this a time when we think
we're now out of the Violet reading books now that we're in, unless this is her, because remember they're studying Tirish history.
That was my thought too.
Oh, okay,
maybe she's read this really recently because of their new class.
Because the new books we've been getting this time have been like the history of Tyrandor, things like that. Like
the last one was
a lot of them are the same ones too, but there is one called The Griffins of Peromiel, a study in combat.
Yeah, and then there's the Tirish Rebellion, a forbidden history by Felix.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which is obviously that guy that we already know.
I totally forgot that was him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I assume that if we're sticking with she's read all of these and these are new things that they're now learning, which would make sense timeline wise.
You're right. Actually, I'm gonna still go with that. Was there something that we found that she definitely didn't read?
Well, we were confused because she had no reaction when she met Vice Commandant
Panchek after having read that dispatch.
No, not Panchek.
No, sorry. Varish.
Yes, after reading that dispatch about how he loves to torture too much, and that's why
That dispatch is one I'm a little confused about. Like,
Yeah, because that
how
would have
would she have
just
gotten it?
happened too. So it's not like, oh, back in the day she would have learned about this, but it's like, no, that dispatch which must have recently happened because then he gets reposted right after that.
Right. That is a weird one, but
Yeah.
I like to keep going with our idea on it. I think.
But
your idea on it.
Thank you. You could pretend that maybe when she was in her mom's office, maybe that original message was sent a while ago and it was taken into consideration, and maybe she skimmed over it while she was in her mom's office.
Yeah.
That would be the only possible way, I'd say.
Yeah. Very possible. Okay, good. Well, like I said, in the start of this chapter, she's completely offended that's like, where you left me, like I'm some kind of pet who should say curled up on your bed because you said so. And I like his answer. I mean, totally not appropriate, but he says, the thought isn't entirely unpleasant. Just like, oh, Xaden.
Also, I was like, why are you guys whispering? What happened to talking in your minds? Like, this seems like a great time to have this fight not out loud. Whatever, it's fine.
I think they're just mad at each other and it's too intimate in their mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
And maybe it's just so Brennan could say, save it for behind closed doors, lovebirds. We need a united front.
Yes. That's exactly, once he said that, I was like, yeah, come on, closed doors, in your own head.
In your head. Yeah, Xaden's irritated that Brennan brought him and he's like, I can't believe you brought her here. And then Brennan's like, I can't believe you think you outrank me. And he says, I do, in every way but one. And then Brennan says, the one is all that matters. What does he mean by that? Every way but one.
I think he's saying I outrank you in every way except for the fact that you literally have the title Colonel Lieutenant and I have the title Lieutenant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because he's like, otherwise like in the rebellion, I outrank you. Like in the
he's like, that's my house.
Yeah,
I am the whatever of the
I think
whatever.
in his head he totally outranks Brennan as protector of Violet too.
Right, and badassery.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that he's the strongest. Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I think.
Mira just completely changes the subject, talking about grass.
Yeah,
and then they start talking about butterfly gardens, and this is where like Violet starts picking up on like, wait, how does he know this stuff?
Yes.
Like, it's weird, his familiarity with it, you know.
As we get a little further down is when I make my more official prediction, but when she's like, Xaden's been here often enough to drink to have fallen into the pool. And I was like, right, but like, didn't we just learn that his dad was brokering a deal with, or whatever, was like reached out as one of his first allies, Count Takar. So to me, I hadn't thought about Kat yet.
But also, she does know they were dating. Although she doesn't know the cat is related to Karis at all. Okay.
We don't know that. So I was just thinking, well, of course he would be here. Because his dad was here and he was helping with the rebellion from like the beginning. Xaden was, as far as we know. As much as his dad would let him.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, clearly he was using his son as a trade. So,
there was definitely something.
Yeah.
Some sort of interaction.
But I was just thinking like there wasn't, like I was like, I don't know why they're acting like this is, I mean, I get because Violet doesn't know, but I'm like, they're really building this moment, but don't we already have the answer?
Yeah, not totally, and not to what we ended up with.
Not totally.
Yeah. We get a lot about how beautiful it is inside here. There's even like a little like river going through, which is kind of what you mentioned, but it does say here that like they changed directions as soon as Sigel felt Taryn on the move, and I would like to wonder if that moment, if Taryn felt Sigel and was just like, well, let's see what happens.
I assumed because he said, "Oh, I can tell that she's calm." Like that's what he said.
But I don't know at that point. Oh, I see what you're saying.
He was asking, like, "Are you sure?" Like she doesn't know. You're not.
So at the point he felt she was calm,
they had not started.
He would have at some point felt that she got like,
no longer.
Where
calm.
are you going?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I know. But he was like, well, this is still our plan. So
he's like, we're going anyways.
We're doing this. We're not backing down.
I think he just likes to throw them together in awkward, not fun situations and just watch what happens.
He does say, he said earlier, like, oh, it's so terrible having to witness the awkwardness of 20-year-olds. I was like, I think you enjoy it.
I think you enjoy it too.
Because you could really help her not be in these awkward situations, and yet you say nothing.
Nothing. So funny.
It's very funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay. She then realizes, like, when Taryn says, you will not be happy with the welcome we're about to receive, like, reaches out to him. She thinks of that at this point, and she reaches out to him and says, you and I are going to have a discussion. You promised. And he says, I promised not to tell, not that she couldn't sense me. And then she thinks to herself, fucking dragon semantics. Anyway, so yeah, there's this winding turquoise pool or something curving around the staircase, and this is where Xaden says something about, like, be careful if you're drinking. There's no railing.
Right.
And then, as you pointed out, Violet thinks Xaden's been here often enough to drink. to have fallen in the pool. He didn't say he fell in the pool. Someone could have fallen in the pool.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah. And so at this point, Viscount comes down with these like uniformed guards and some people behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So the introductions are made to all three of them, and he like smiles and he's like, "It's you I'm most curious about, Violet." And he's just like with glee in his gaze, just staring at her. And he says, "Is it true that you call lightning from the sky?" And I would just like to say, no, it's not true.
Yeah, she should have said
I mean,
that.
she can.
So I
Anyways.
can.
Yeah, that's not all I do. She says, "I do." And then he says, "How wonderful," and clasps his hands with his rings twinkling. And I'm just like, what does this remind you of? What does it remind you of?
It reminds me of Slughorn.
Slughorn. Oh, that's a good one. Do you know what it reminds me of?
Huh.
Robin Hood animated film.
Oh, yeah.
Prince John with all the rings on his fingers. And he's like, oh, and he's like, like playing with, gold and stuff like that.
Yeah, yes, that's also a great visual.
This is how I'm seeing
Viscount. Yeah, because, I mean, to be fair, Slughorn isn't this extravagant.
No, he does a lot of...
But he does have that, like, very interested in you.
I would like to collect you. Yes, Slughorn likes to collect his little powerful people.
Yeah.
But he does let them go at least.
Yeah.
He just wants to
as long as they pay him a tax.
As long as they send him candied pineapple. Okay. So back to Fourth Wing. Yeah, so then they of course are like, let's talk about, and he's like, nope, no, it's poor etiquette to discuss business until dinner. You know the rules, Ryerson. They certainly can't attend as they are. They need to be dressed suitably, as will you.
Uh-huh.
And then she thinks, you know the rules, to Xaden, right? She's saying this to him. Exactly how many times have you been here? And he says, I don't exactly keep count, which means a lot.
Yep, means a lot of times.
This is not his first, this is not his second.
Okay, are you ready for this? Because it's not going to sound believable, but the line here says, my niece will see you. And then that's like the end until you have to look.
Break, yeah.
And then you look, to the other side of the page and you keep on reading, because that's how readings work. So I saw my niece and I highlighted my niece and I wrote probably cat, yuck. And then I read the rest of the sentence, won't you cat? And I was like,
wow.
I was like, if only I could have predicted it like a little bit before. It's like the same sentence that it's
great.
in.
Do you like cover the line beneath it as you go?
No, I don't. Usually I would read a whole sentence, but it was just because of the fact that you would have to look to the other side of the page to complete that sentence. I had a second of just my niece will see you. And then just right then I was like, it's probably going to be cat, because the way that Violet's acting about this, like she's being so weird about it that I'm like, we're waiting for something.
Yeah.
It's probably cat. But then it was like, I was like, oh, dang, I barely even got it.
You did though. You did. Well done. You got it anyways. So yes, Cat is his niece. And Violet's stomach hits the sparkly marble floor. And she thinks to herself, you have to be fucking kidding me. And I'm sure we all thought that.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, of course.
Uncle Catriona steps down from the front row. Anyways, she's apparently
also, she was in the entourage, and it did say earlier, Violet says, I keep my focus on the Viscount, but I feel the weight of his entourage staring behind him.
Which is really just
and then,
her,
exactly. And I do wonder if Kat's already messing with her here. Because she then is, like, mad at Xaden already.
Although she's been mad at Xaden for a couple of fun paragraphs.
Yes, it's true.
It does mention how beautiful she is. So she's very beautiful.
The cat is, yes.
Yeah. And then she thinks to herself, suddenly I understand exactly why Xaden's been here too many times to keep count.
I know. Yeah. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously we all know who he chose.
We know their endgame. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
So they are being led by Cat, of all people, to the rooms. And we find out that she's been there because the Dark Wielders destroyed Zolia. And that, as we know, they went there. They're a cadet. I mean, he really should have known
So
better.
Xaden really must have just showed up, because he literally said, like, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah. And then Mira can pick up something's going on, so she kind of raises her eyebrows at Violet. But Violet's like later.
Yeah.
She's not ready to talk to her right now. So Kat suggests to Xaden that he takes Brennan and they go get changed. And she mentions, like, your room, we left it exactly the way you left it, or whatever, She's Violet's like, wait, he has a room here? And she's like, what else has he not told me? Or what haven't I asked might be the better question. Which, no, I really want to
This is the time that he definitely should have told you this.
No, 100%.
Like, the second you showed up, you should have been like, by the way, this is actually Kat's
When she said, how
uncle.
long have you been here? He should have said, listen, we can talk about it more, but just, I was supposed to, whatever, however he wants to say it.
They can
and
talk
it's
in
because
their
of
mind.
Kat.
There's no excuse not to divulge
I know.
information at any point.
Yeah, this is not in any way her fault.
This is not the what haven't I asked.
And I do
What are you
feel
supposed to
like
ask?
his whole...
Oh, did you date the Viscount's niece? What are you supposed to ask?
What are you supposed to ask? Well, he already knows she already knew he dated Kat.
Yeah, but she didn't know that he was the Viscount's niece. Like, what is she supposed to ask?
Oh, yeah. But there's more here, as we know, right?
Yes.
I guess what I wanted to point out here that really pissed me off is that it almost seems like he's gotten to her where she thinks that she should have asked.
I know.
Which kind of pisses me off.
No, I'm agreeing.
Because he's almost kind of gotten her to the point of believing that everything she needs to find out is through her questions instead of him just talking to her.
Yeah, which we've already discussed earlier, like when he was like, well, why didn't you tell me all this stuff? And it's like, because you didn't ask. You didn't ask me if Jack came back to life, did you?
Yeah, that's right, we did.
How dumb you sound?
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
I guess sometimes when these things are frustrating, you just want to hash them out more and more. But yeah, for sure. He asks her if she would like to get dressed in his room. And I think the fact that he uses my room, she's just like, no, I need some space. She's just like, I don't know what's going on, but I just kind of need space, right?
Uh-huh.
Again, this could be, at this point, I do think Kat is on her now. She's already started like pulling that little tiny bit of insecurity, like you said, or a little bit of jealousy.
She was already feeling, because she was feeling it here, like.
And Violet's always felt a little bit like she's not quite that she's not quite good enough for Xaden, or you know what I mean, like, why does he like me? Like, that's always been there, so that little bit's already there.
Yes, and also the fact that he's talking about this place so familiarly and not explaining why, and that was happening earlier, so she's having these feelings, and I do agree. I think that she's already digging her claws into her.
Ooh, Kat is a cat.
Oh god,
what an insult.
I
Cats
really
everywhere.
think I could hate her this much.
Oh man, I love to hate Kat. Like, she's one of those characters that I love hating.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's saying, I'm the next door down, I'll hear you scream, and she's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then Kat's like, sure, you can't be worried that she's in any danger from me. And then Xaden's like about to say Violet, maybe he's about to say Violet can handle herself, I don't know, but Violet interrupts and says Violet can handle herself.
Yeah.
And then he says, I never wanted you to have to, not here. And then he talks in her mind and says, Takaris might want to keep you, but every other flower in this palace will happily slit your throat and Mira's in the name of revenge against your mother. Brennan's anonymity, gosh, I didn't say that right. Anonymity is all that saves him here. So they don't know he's Sorangale.
Yes.
You have no idea how much danger you're in, the lengths I've done to keep you safe. And then she says out loud, stop keeping me safe. You never would have pulled this bullshit last year. You never held me back, never caged me in the name of protecting me. You were the one telling me to find another way in the gauntlet, watching me fight off other cadets at threshing. And then he's like trying to explain, I wasn't in love with you then. I had no idea what you'd become to me, you know? And then he's like, she does think here, and he couldn't kill me thanks to the deal he made with Mom, the deal he still hasn't trusted me with, because she heard it only from her mom and he hasn't said anything.
Such a great point.
Yeah. And I forgot about that because I knew she knew it, you know?
Yeah.
And then she says, sure as hell hadn't, no, he's still saying, sure as hell hadn't sat by your bedside for 3 days knowing my life, if it even exists beyond yours, would mean nothing without you in it. And I do, like, again, I give him this point where the fact that he is fucked up right now from
the 3 days
trouble.
Was, yeah.
That was when she almost died.
Yes, and then
then having to, like, save her from torture. I mean, he did save her from torture. She wouldn't have gotten out of there with Dane.
Oh.
So, yeah, I do, that is something to consider, for sure. Yeah, so he, like, saying he's nearly lost his mind when he found out that she was on her way over to Takaris and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, my plan to raise the wards failed and you need the luminary. I'm not going to sit tucked away in Arisha just because you're worried something will happen to me. If I did, I wouldn't be the woman you fell in love with. And he's like, your first attempt at translation fails and you just sneak off to enemy territory.
I tried 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah, like a little bit more before you just give up, Violet. I thought that was actually a great point. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, this doesn't work. I'm going to do this.
But she also makes a great point, which is we both know we need the luminary.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have to sneak.
If you had been remotely reasonable.
Huh?
Yeah. And he's like, reasonable?
Right, so this is him talking out loud. So I just want to say, just to keep it for everyone, which is Brennan, Mira, and Kat, they just hear Xaden say that I never wanted you to have to handle yourself. Yeah. Not here. She says to stop trying to keep me safe.
And she explains how he would
all
never...
this, but then she gets interrupted, but not out loud. So she says, watching me fight off other cadets at threshing, and then they just stare silently at each other.
For a long time.
And then he says, reasonable? What?
Everyone knows they're talking to each other at this point.
Everyone think is happening.
There's just no way that they're not figuring this out. I know it. I was thinking about that too. I'm like, okay, guys.
Yeah, it's like, even like, there's like physical signs, right? Like his hand grasps her neck, so I guess they're close to each other here. And then this like, she blinks, and then she reaches
she grasps the door edge. Yeah.
And then
I know there's all this stuff happening, but they're just staring at each other.
But they're staring at each other, and she like starts taking a step back.
I still think people know now that they're talking to each other. I really do think it's out there more now.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's saying, let's get one thing straight. If I ever see a way to keep you safe, I'll take it. And she thinks to herself, the fuck he will. And she says, do you know who you sound like right now? And he goes, please enlighten me. And she says, Dane. And then shuts the door.
Oh, yes, Violet. That's the way to end the fight.
I mean, it is a Dane move. It is.
Fine, if there's ever
yeah.
a way, if I ever see a way to keep you safe, I'll take it.
He does go from like, you can get your shit, pull up your big girl panties to like, stop putting yourself in trouble. But I don't know.
He makes a great point in a way. Also, he does, like, when she does express her upset and her concern, he takes it into consideration and he apologizes. So you can't be that mad at him. That's what I say. It's like, okay, he made a mistake. But then he apologized, whatever.
I'm going to go down a slight side street here. A lot of readers of the Court of Thorns and Roses books have actually gotten very passionately mad at Rhysand, one of my favorite book boyfriends, book husbands, for what he does in the final book. And I guess I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, okay. He doesn't tell Feyre that she's in danger.
Yes, he doesn't tell her she's in danger on certain thing. And to the point where like very mad. And it makes me sad because I don't know if these people have ever, like been in that kind of situation either. Yeah. Where maybe the person they love is maybe dying from something or is, in a situation that they feel like they can't control.
Yeah.
And I don't think he made the right choice at all whatsoever, but it doesn't, I guess I understand the protective feeling. I guess I understand the protective feeling. I'm also a mom, and I feel very protective of my children.
Yeah, and it's not the same as what Tamlin did.
It's not the same.
It's not the same at all. So, yeah, I agree. I think that he showed Feyre and the readers in like time after time after time that he does think of her as his equal, and he knows that she's powerful, but this was something that I think he truly felt was outside of either of their control, outside of anybody's control. So it was just like, why would I stress her out and make her upset when we can't do anything about this?
Yeah.
And maybe she deserved to know, and maybe she could have thought of it.
I don't think it was correct. Xaden's kind of doing the same thing. He's getting overprotective, and we hated Dane for that, but I can't hate Xaden.
He still treats her like he takes her opinion into account and stuff like that.
There's still a lot of good, yeah.
Like she was saying straight up, like, no, I don't want to. And Dane was like, shush, shush, shush.
Yeah, he's like,
you don't know what you want.
Little scribe. Go back into your books.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not.
It is not. Okay, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. All right. Page break. She's getting all beautiful. There's a lady named Zara who's the lady's maid that's been helping them and stuff. And she's got this gorgeous black gown on. Mira also has a black gown, and it describes it has lots of pockets, so she's like sticking all her daggers in there and everything. But this particular one talks about like the bodice. Is it bodice or bodice? I think it's bodice.
Yeah.
Plummets into a deep V to the base of her ribs, right? So we're talking all the way down here. You're talking like a hand span above your navel.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then all these like, like leaves and vines and the whole back being exposed, which with that tattoo's got to be
that's
sexy. And then she talks about this silk being so completely like sheer.
Yes.
Right? So there's like a lot of layers of it so that, you can't see through it.
Yes.
And it is mentioned as Deverelli silks. And it says so fine it's nearly transparent. And so then we find out that's from the Isle. So we have a name of an isle. One of the islands is called
Deverelli.
Wow, Deverelli.
It's either a name of an island or a name of a city.
Yeah.
In the island, I guess.
Yeah, could be. So she says from the Isle, whatever. Sure. And then she's like, you still trade with them? Because Navarre hasn't in centuries. And she said, we did until the last few years, but the merchants think it's too dangerous to come here now. But this Viscount likes to have a lot of the best of the best.
Of course.
So this is where the conversation happens, where she's like, is it true he likes to collect rare objects? Yes. What about people? And then this lady says only if they agree to be collected. And she's like, Violet's like, well, so kidnapping isn't really his thing. But then Zara says, no, he won't lock you away, but he will make you a proposal that will tempt you to be collected. Singers, weavers, storytellers, they all eventually remain. I almost feel like she's giving too much information here for someone who's supposed to be loyal to her. Like, maybe she's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
I mean, you could say that, well, it gets you to start thinking, well, what would I be tempted by? And then if there's a mind, someone who's pretty good mind wielding nearby,
they can pull it out.
They could figure it out.
Good
so
point. We don't know.
But we also learn here that Violet takes and sheaths an alloy hilted dagger.
Oh, yeah.
So, and she fastens it to her thigh.
Yeah, with the sheath. She fastens the sheath to her thigh.
Yeah.
Where
So,
a long
it's
slit.
good to know that she does have one of these daggers on her in a little bit.
And thank goodness that's an alloy hilted one.
Yes.
Okay, so Kat immediately jumps. She's an immediate bitch.
Yep.
The minute the door's open. She says, she like is saying you went with black and that like, oh, well, like Xaden always complained about how monotone everything goes. Oh, come on. Xaden.
Doesn't he love black?
Do you know him?
It just really seems unlikely.
Very unlikely.
I mean, this could have a kernel of truth in which Xaden wasn't talking about clothes,
I guess,
but was just saying like the colors of this palace,
or these beautiful
are so much more, or so much prettier than the gray stone of Basgaith. But there's no way that he was out here being like, oh, I wish we all wore more colorful outfits.
Yeah,
no way.
Xaden,
do not believe that.
No,
do not believe that.
It's so funny. Which again just shows how she's like gotten her little claws in her mind so fast. Because Violet should have been like, what are you?
Well, she kind of does.
She kind of does. She says, but Xaden doesn't lament anything.
Yeah, which is funny. But she also says there's all time to change if you would like. This makes me assume that Violet could not look better.
Yeah.
If she's trying to get her to change, Violet could not be looking better right now. Like
Violet looks sexy. We know this.
And she's like, maybe you should change.
Especially because her hair's down, right? Because that comes up later where she's like, oh no, you didn't put your hair up. And I'm like, what is the one thing we know about Xaden?
I know. I was really like, that's how Xaden likes it, so shut up.
Is that like much later?
No, that's right here.
Okay, cool. She says something. Oh, Violet says, and are you capable of having a discussion that doesn't revolve around him? And then Kat says, sure, if it makes you more comfortable, we can discuss how your mother has perpetrated a lie that cost thousands of Promish lives, some of which your own sister is responsible for taking. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then Mira's like, looks at Violet.
It's not like her mom made up the lie. Okay, not to defend Lilith here.
No, I mean, she's a general, and that unfortunately means she's responsible for a lot of
And what
shit.
did Violet do the second she found out it was a lie? And what did Mira do the second she found out it was a lie? This whole, like, parent-children thing, I hate it all. You cannot be held responsible for the decisions that your parent made.
No.
Especially if you're making the opposite decisions. Like, Are you serious right now?
Yeah, I think you can more be held responsible for the decision your children made
because you
raised
parented them.
Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't really work the other way around, though.
I know. So, I like how Mira looks at her and says, I was going to remind you that's probably bad manners to stab our hostess, but you know what? Fuck it. We don't need a luminary. And then Kat just blinks at her. But then, thank goodness, Serena shows up.
Yep.
I'm still confused, but I think they're cousins, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure it was said earlier, but I always forget and think they're sisters. So.
No, they're cousins.
So Serena comes up and says, stop being a wretch, Kat. Now, what I wish you would have said is, like, stop using your mind powers.
Yes, so it could be clear to everyone that's what she's doing. Yeah, I agree.
And then she, like, she's nice to Violet. She asks if Ryerson's hiding somewhere, if he actually let you out of your sight. And then Violet smiles and is like, good to see you, Serena. And he does get a bit protective, doesn't he? And then Kat's like, he wouldn't be if he thought you were strong enough to stand at his side.
Yeah, that's not at all what's happening here, actually. No. Serena
then, like, gives a look to Kat.
Yeah.
Serena is being introduced to Mira. Serena basically kind of points out that she had friends at Strathmore or whatever, which is where Mira, like, killed a bunch of griffins. Yeah. I mean, not griffins, flyers. But Mira says, I have no remorse for winning battles. And if you're Serena Cordella, then your reputation reaches across the border as well.
Right.
Basically, they're just saying both of them have killed each other's friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes in war. Sometimes
That's how it
happens.
goes, yeah. Anyways, so then when Serena says something to Mira about like she's surprised she's like wearing a gown with so many people that would want to kill her here. And Mira says, I can kill just as easily in a gown as leathers. Want to see? And then Serena laughs and says, I see why little Sorrengail is so tough if she had to grow up with you. Let's get going. The men are already there. Which I thought was just kind of, again, she's not being mean. She's just stating facts and then kind of, you know.
She's like, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
All right. We're good
We're
now.
there. Yeah.
So now here's where the hair thing comes up.
Yeah. So she's looking at Kat and seeing how gorgeous she is in this bold red silk. And then she starts feeling washed out because, you know, that's again, she notices beauty and thinks of herself in that little bit, maybe whatever.
I don't know. I think that she just notices what she looks like, and that's all it takes. Because I can't imagine that Violet actually feels washed out. I don't know.
No, but she might feel just a tiny bit like this girl's gorgeous and Zayden liked her type of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She starts like worrying if she should have gone with color. Maybe he's sick of the black. And Mira's like, are you right?
Maybe she knows him better than I do.
Right.
See, I'm like, I don't think that's your thought.
When you were reading this, you're
going to see the exact line where I start going,
what the hell?
I think I know what this is.
Okay, good. So we'll get there. So yeah, so Violet's kind of like, trying to shake off the feelings. She's sort of like, what is wrong with me? And she even thinks to herself, I never judge myself against other women when it comes to how we look. How we fight? Sure, right? Definitely, but nothing ever as shallow as appearance.
Yeah, so this should have
triggered that there was something going on.
But it was like enough times of sentences like this that did finally get me to realize what was happening.
Yeah.
But
we do have a little side conversation here that Serena has a brother, and they say Drake, and it's actually her cousin.
She says a cousin, so she doesn't have any siblings, I guess.
No sibling. Yeah. She says, well, that we know of. She says, you're just his type. He likes women who might actually kill him. And Mira's like, too bad I don't go for Griffin flyers.
And we hear this word, the Nightwing Drift. And Violet thinks, I don't know their unit terminology.
Yeah. So he's along the Breivik border, which means that he is probably, well, I'm assuming it's along the border to Navarre. So he's like one of the fighters, you know, like kind of like out on the outposts or like the other.
Well, it's funny because Samara is it's in between the Krovla and the Breivik province, and that's where Mira was last. So I find that interesting.
Mira was last or?
At Samara.
Oh, yeah, she was, yeah.
Which is against the Breivik border.
Yeah, so she could have fought him for all we know.
Yeah.
Oh, it says he's with the Nightwing Drift in the north, so it's probably more north.
More like Chakar, I guess.
But yeah, so there's a drift called the Nightwing Drift, so that's just interesting, something new.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is where Kat gets onto her about her hair and says, surely she could have come up with something a little more refined than just leaving it down like that.
And then she says this line, I thought you always wore it up in case of a fight. And I wondered, I guess I didn't make an official note here, but I wondered this, and then something else happens, I think, where I'm like, do they have, like, spies?
Yeah.
Because there's something else that is like, wait, how do they know that? I think that this was, like, hint 1, and then somewhere we're going to find over here hint 2, where maybe I do write something down. But this is just, like, how would she know that? Is it because she's in her mind? Maybe that's the only reason? Or is there something else?
Yeah. Anyways, I like how Taryn kind of jumps in here and says, it would be a pity to kill her now. I'm hunting 10 minutes away and I'd miss the show.
Yes, this is Taryn kind of trying to be like jokey about it, but then when it doesn't work, he's like, okay, no, that's enough.
Control your power. You don't need to start wielding lightning in the middle of this palace.
No, that's not going to help the negotiations. Although I guess he would see wield, but
too bad she doesn't have her orb on her.
I know.
She thinks to herself, what is it about Kat that brings out the irrational in me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't see where you came up with starting realizing it, because I feel like that's it.
Oh, no, it's here at the very end.
Oh, okay.
It's like the last hint you get before you learn the
trick. Okay. So there you go. She says to Kat, how sweet of you to worry about me, but you're not the one I'm picking a fight with tonight. And then Kat says, with Zayden. And then, dripping with false sympathy, says, if you don't already know that he's not the kind of man who gets flustered or loses control, then there's really no hope for you. Save yourself the energy, because he'll simply think any fight you pick is childish.
Right, and then she instantly, agrees.
I know, and I'm like, have you not seen him lose control?
Yeah, and then she remembers this.
Yeah, she does. For a moment here, the flash of memory, clears her head, actually.
Yeah, I know. This is another time when I definitely should have thought about it.
Yeah, there's a lot
of things. But I did it.
It says it clears her head just enough to breathe around, but she's remembering him losing control.
It was just real jealousy. You know what I mean? Like, I was a little bit like, oh, her thinking like, she's right. What am I doing? He doesn't get flustered. I was like, oh,
but isn't this weird though that she thinks she's right? What am I doing? He doesn't get flustered, and then gets this memory like flashes in her head.
I really wonder if Taryn, like, okay, that would be like.
Taryn flashes it to her. He's just like, do you remember this time he didn't...
Come on, Violet. This is clearly manipulation. Here, let me help you.
Because it just flashes in her head.
I know.
Okay. Yeah. And she is, so it lets her clear her head enough to breathe around the insufferable jealousy.
Or it's Xaden. It could be Xaden. Xaden might have, like, also found a little crack. And is trying to get in.
Could have, very much. All right. So then Serena's like, give it a rest. You're all of a year older than Violet, and it's been longer than that since you two were together. So she's saying it's been longer than a year.
Yes.
I don't know what that's to do with her being a year older than Violet.
No, she's just saying I think she's just saying two different things. Like, first
I think
of all,
so too.
You're being condescending to someone who you're barely older than.
Yes.
And second of all, it's been longer than a year that you've been together. So
yeah, I guess that's all she's saying. Anyways.
He's just a man.
He's just a man. Like, stop fighting over Xaden. We're actually more interested in this girl who can actually kill Venom. Like, can we not just treat her, like, see that out of her, respect her for that, you know?
Yeah. Anyways. And then she says, or Mira says, are you all right? And she says, no, but I don't know what's wrong either. So, I mean,
something's wrong.
Still, to this point, I just was like, she just doesn't know how to deal with jealousy, I guess. Like, I really was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember how I felt when I first did this. I can't tell you now because this is, as I've said too many times now, my fourth reread. But I just feel like the signs are everywhere.
Yes. The second I realized it, I was like, oh, it all makes so much sense. Yeah. I was getting like a feeling like we're getting to something, but I just wasn't getting what the something was. Because then, like, the mind work thing has been really downplayed and barely mentioned.
Yes, for sure.
So I was like, what are we getting at? Like, we're getting at something, what are we getting at? And then it was this line that we're about to get to that I was like, she would never think this in a million. Like, it was like the one too much. I was like, she would never ever think this ever.
And that's okay.
Oh my God, it's
that's the line
work.
That you mentioned. Okay, good. Yeah. So we'll get to it because she walks in and I love how she's like, my gaze went immediately to Xaden. She's like, it's not because of all these other reasons why it could be. She says, I locate him within a heartbeat because he's the center of my gravity. And then she thinks, as pissed as I am that he lectured me, that he refused to bring me here, that there are years of history behind both of us we haven't discussed, that the tunic he's walking towards me isn't just tailored to perfection, but obviously made for him. It doesn't change the fact he's a fucking magnet for my heart.
Yeah.
So then she thinks that he says to her in her mind, that dress. So she must have dropped her shield. That dress, you're playing dirty violence. And then she thinks, but why is he headed for me when the obvious choice is the woman in red just a few feet away?
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, she's fucking with Violet's mind. That's why it's all written weird. So I did know, like, that's why this is all written weird. Because I was like, wow, this is written so weird.
Yeah.
This is written so weird. And then I was like,
because that sounds like Kat, the one thinking, I'm the obvious choice. There's no way Violet would think that.
No, I'm like, okay, there's jealousy. And then this is like really self-deprecating. And Violet can be jealous, but she's not that self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, the obvious choice is this other woman. I'm like, nope, no.
So they both mutually agree that they're mad at each other. But then he just breaks out with her. I mean, he basically pulls all these shadows and covers. I imagine he covers them and not everybody else. So they're just like this little bubble of shadows as they're making out. And I think she does say that the minute...
Yeah, just like that, the hottest of my jealousy and the infuriating insecurity is gone.
Like, the second guessing herself is gone. It's like as if the wall of shadows... And this is where she thinks, it's as if the wall of shadows he's thrown up. And then she's like, what did you do? Because she realizes he did something. And he said, what I should have done the second I saw you this afternoon, I am probably shocked Kat enough to make her stop fucking with your head. And she's like, what do you mean? And he says, she has the gift of heightening the emotions of the people around her, and she's exceptionally
So it has
powerful.
to be emotions that are already
You have
there.
to have it, yeah. If you hadn't blocked me out all evening, I would have told you sooner. So how did he know that she was having her head fucked with her when she walked in?
But well, at that point, he was able to talk to her. So
yeah,
like,
so he might have just picked up something.
When that moment when she's like, he's the center of my gravity and like looks at him and stuff, maybe she dropped her shields a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So then after he says that about she blocking him out all evening, she was like, she thinks to herself, for the knowledge that I actually managed to block him out, that was like kind of like surprised her. And she's like, no wonder I can't get a grip of myself. She's been waging a war I didn't even realize we were in. Wait. And then he says, Then she thinks he would have told me sooner. He's had weeks to tell me.
Right. I'm like, I'm with her here. I'm on her side in this moment. Yes, yes, you should have mentioned this.
Oh, we're back to the communication again.
Yeah, but then he says you win, and I'm like, okay, well, now it's hard to stay mad at you.
Except for she's like, I haven't even started fighting with you. She can still stay mad at him. She's good at it.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. So, she thinks to herself, because she puts her shields up, how the hell did she get past them in the first place? If they've locked out Xaden, surely they should be strong enough for her. So,
but it also says that she has the gift of heightening the emotion, so it just seems different.
Yeah, it does seem. I agree with you. I like the way you explained it. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. He says we can fight as much as you want later tonight. Just know that you've already won. I heard what you were saying. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I'm assuming he's saying I heard what you were saying when you were telling me about the whole, like you're like Dane, basically.
Yes.
He said, sorry that I've been overreacting since pulling you out of that interrogation chamber. Hell, since Resson. When Sigale told me they were torturing you, I couldn't get to you. And he's like, I can't fucking breathe when you're in danger, but that's not your fault. I should have brought you here when you asked me to.
Yes.
So not only is he out loud in front of everybody apologizing, saying you were right, winning that fight that apparently Kat says that you can't win with him.
Yeah, that you can't even pick with him because he'll just think you're immature. I think that's what he used to think about Kat.
Oh, probably.
But I think Violet only brings up fights when it's a great point. But I think Kat probably was like,
oh, I'm sure.
Dumb.
She's so petty.
She's so petty.
So then he says, now it's your turn. Can you admit that you should have waited for me to bring you so we could have formulated a plan? And she's like, no. I'm sorry for not telling you, but not sorry for coming. We need that luminary now. And then he kind of smiles and says, figured. And then the Viscount's a little annoyed. He's like, would you guys mind joining us? You're essential to this evening's discussion. More like entertainment, but whatever.
Jeez.
He then says, out loud, he says, I make no apologies. Maintaining control is nearly impossible around Violet.
Right. Where earlier Kat was saying he'd never lose his control.
And then she thinks, what the hell? Did he hear her out there? That's impossible. And then Kat stiffens next to her uncle, her face falling. Like she just killed he just delivered the killing blow. So Takaris says, word traveled fast when you ruined that little war college of yours for her. Split your quadrant right down the middle. Bravo. Been trying to take that place down for years, and you did it in what, 6 days? And Zayden's like, 5. And then Takaris shakes his head. 5 days. Marvelous. Now, I assume you'd like to discuss acquiring the luminary I have in my possession.
Yeah, because you're probably just using it as something to look at and put your tea on or whatever. I don't know.
I was going to say as a paperweight, but I'm sure it's a lot bigger than that. It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
have your tea parties on.
Yes, please give it to us.
Ugh. And then Violet says, and I assume you've brought us out here to see me wield before you open yourself to discussion.
So she has to wield before this is also so annoying. I was like, oh, I thought that
Everything
the deal
about
was
this guy is
if
annoying.
she wields, we get the luminary, but it's if she wields, we talk about
We
it.
talk about making, yes.
Are you serious?
No.
This is terrible.
Crazy. He's like, it's prudent to see what you're capable of before you enter discussions. What? And she says seems fair, which, whatever.
It doesn't.
It does not seem fair.
Yes.
So he doesn't want her to wield up there. He's like, you have to go down in the field. He says it's a performance. It'd be a shame to waste the gaming area. And he says it took me years to construct. He says all the stone was quarried from Breivik from east of the Dunas River. Did you look what's east of the Dunas River? I just wanted to point that out.
The Barons.
Yeah.
So they must have got the rock and the venom at the same time. 2 in 1 trip.
Oh my God. So yeah. And then he says that wheeling out your target. And she's like, target? Oh shit.
Yes. I can't do that. I was like, I hope she can do it, but I can't believe, theory-wise, that they're just going to walk away with the luminary yet. Whatever's going to happen here, I just don't believe at the end of it, they're leaving with luminary right away. I think something else is going to have to happen first.
Well, something definitely is going to happen.
Something definitely happens.
We end in quite a interesting, not really a cliffhanger. I mean, I
would say it's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger, yeah. I guess it's a cliffhanger, but it's also, yeah. Okay, fine. But a surprise, for sure.
Surprise.
Okay, so apparently this is a chest called, and I'm going to try this pronunciation, guys, but if anybody out there listening to audiobooks want to tell me how to pronounce this, that'd be great. Ribestad chest.
It sounds good to me.
Ribestad chest. And this is apparently his father's chest. So he says, it's the very one your father brought me when we were in negotiations for what some might consider a greater treasure.
Yeah, and I was like, what would that be? But I guess he's referring to his niece.
Or him. Or Xaden being the greater treasure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know if there's more to it, but I was like, what would that be?
Apparently this was the most valuable item that Xaden's father owned. He wants to walk her down. Takaris is like, no, how would I know what she's capable of without you? Of course. I mean, they can't just have Xaden in there when a Venom comes, you know?
Yeah, also,
and then he also,
it makes
like...
no sense. It's like, what? Because Xaden's powers can, heighten hers? I mean,
No,
technically, emotions-wise.
the two of them are also... Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense if she was just supposed to aim. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yes.
Once you find out what's happening, it would make sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he says here, as long as you don't step foot into that arena, Ryerson, and she doesn't leave the field until she strikes the target, we'll open discussions for your luminary.
Right, and did he ever say specifically that the chest was the target?
No, he says they're wheeling out the target.
They're wheeling out the target,
yeah.
And that she has to hit the target. So then it's clear that the target is not the chest.
No.
It's what's in the chest. Anyway, so there's that. Also, yeah, the way that this is worded, I was like, none of this wording is good at all. And I was thinking they must have spies. This one I was thinking they must have spies because I'm like, how do they know that she can't aim? You know? But actually, now that we know it's the Venom, I don't really think that that's the reason why he wants her to aim. I think he really just wants her to see.
He wants to see what she's going to do against the Venom because this is what they...
Yeah. It's not that he thinks, oh, she can't aim, so this is going to trick her. So anyway, so now
I mean, no matter what his reason, it's a fucking dick move.
Oh, no, he's terrible. But we expected him to be terrible.
Yeah.
I was just
100%.
waiting for the terrible.
Yeah, we were like, where is the terribleness?
Yeah.
What is happening exactly? Yeah, so she takes the deal, even though Xaden was like, we're getting out of here. And she's like, nope, I'm doing this.
But here we just looking at the wording again, because they're like, oh, he doesn't take kindly to people who break their word. But the word is, as long as you don't step foot into the arena, Ryerson, and she doesn't leave the field until she strikes the target, will open discussions for your luminary.
Yeah, we're not even going to give you the luminary.
So if Xaden comes into the field or Violet leaves the field, the only thing that happens is they don't open discussions for the luminary. So they could, I'm just saying, like, obviously her life isn't, like, her actual life isn't worth the luminary.
Yeah. She could be like, well, never mind, we're leaving because I don't want to die from this venom. Yeah, yes. She could be like that.
No, I don't think that's going to happen because that'd be, like, so boring. But I'm just saying that, like, technically, Xaden could jump in at any moment if it became really serious.
Yeah. But instead, Mira goes with her.
Yep.
Which, she's also like, I can't, even do any wards here. I tried. It's like, she's too far from the wards to actually...
So she can just do hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. So, but then Violet still thinks she's just hitting a chest.
Yes.
Right? I think she says... Oh, no. Okay, that's right. It's coming up right here. Because she's just like telling Mira, don't worry, just dodge the chest if it explodes, right? Yeah. She's thinking that's all, the worst that's going to happen. So she asks Xaden, what greater treasure was your father negotiating for?
Right, and then this is where Xaden hints that it was Cat.
An alliance my father made that I officially denied last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the treasure was an alliance, I guess. And then the alliance probably would have included marriage.
Yeah. So it was made. It was made, and he officially denied it last year. Does that mean... Yeah, well, find out how...
Maybe he wanted to get more his word, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he was just like, yeah, I'm not doing it. And he's also saying, like, using this chest as a statement more, like, against him for having, like, denied this earlier agreed upon thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then she says out loud, would that alliance have anything to do with Kat? And then he hesitates and says yes. And she's like, that information would have been valuable before arriving.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
No wonder she despises her.
Yep.
Which it really doesn't give anybody a reason to despise anybody, but okay.
No, she does say, like, I'm not self-centered enough to think I'm the reason he called off the alliance, but I'm definitely a barrier.
I think she's the reason he called off the alliance. Last year. So that would have been winter. Like, I'm lusting over this girl. I don't know if I love her yet, but if I'm... No, joking, I don't know.
No, but last year would be winter. Or fall, sorry. Fall, which threshing would have already happened. They probably would be kissing soon. Right? Because they kissed when it was snowing. And last
year doesn't have to be 12 months exactly.
No, it doesn't. So maybe it really was only her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if that ever is clarified, and if it is. Like, if anybody's thinking, like...
But I also have the feeling that Xaden never had
feelings for Kat. Yeah.
Emotions for Kat.
So where are we here? So basically, she's saying, I wish you gave me that information. She's like, it would have made sense so I would have known a little bit more about why she hates me, right? That's what she's thinking to herself.
Yeah.
And then his response to that, she's just saying that information would be valuable. His response is, still fighting, got it. I'm just like, but...
yeah, because you're being dumb.
No, she's not fighting. She was just saying it would be nice to have had that information. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. So then she tells Mira, I can't aim, right? And she explains that, like, Car was just focusing on quantity over quality, and Felix just started teaching her aim, so it might take a while. There's also 2 guards in front of this chest this whole time. Did you start thinking about something here?
Nope.
What are these guys doing here? So she doesn't even think anything here. So it says...
I mean, they said that they moved the chest in, so I just assumed they were...
And they're just staying there. It says, a guard pulls a small item from his pocket that I can't quite make out from here.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. In my head, chests don't lock, and I know that chests lock all the time. I do. I have just never personally encountered a chest that was locked, because they always have, you know, like, it's either just like a wardrobe chest,
so
or it has, like, my chest in my bedroom has towels in it. You know, it's not locked. So I just don't think of it as locked, so I didn't think about a key being a thing.
I just realized something. You had highlighted this word and I never said it, and we skipped right over it. So when they're pushing out the metal chest, they say it's the size of an armoire. So is it even a chest, or is it actually an armoire?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay, because we're in a room right now.
I highlighted it, but I don't know if I wrote anything down, but I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's so funny. She's blown up an armoire before.
That's right.
I think I
come
forgot
on,
to
Violet, you've
down.
done this before. Maybe just think about sex with Zayden, right?
And you'll hit that armoire perfectly.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. But also, I was wondering why. The reason I looked back right then was because I was thinking, wait a second, chest? In my head all this time, it's an armoire. Yeah. That's why, because she's saying it's the size of an armoire. I don't know what makes a chest, an armoire, but we have an armoire right here. We're looking at it. I'm just still confused about how that's called a chest, but whatever. Doesn't matter. It's metal. It's called the chest. It's called the Ribestad chest, so whatever. She calls out to them, you guys might want to move, right? And she says the stocky one in front holds his fist to the front of the chest like he thinks he has a shot at stopping it if the giant iron box shifts and topples onto him, or like he has a key.
Yes.
And then she starts getting like this shiver and apprehension. So hold on.
So he's holding his fist out because he's turning.
Okay, here's where it is. I knew there was double doors. Okay. Yeah, so it's like he has a key. So he must have a key. And then she starts to like random facts again. And it's this thing about the Arctile Ocean to the south is known for calm warm waters and lucrative trade routes. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, whatever. I didn't care about this.
I know, because we're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And the double doors of the chest, which is an armoire, bursts open, sending both guards sprawling across the ground with startling force as a man jolts forward and falls to his hands and knees on the grass. So his hands are on the grass, I'd like to point out.
Terrifying.
His maroon tunic and trousers are tattered like he's been kept a prisoner for weeks.
Which he probably has been.
Mira says, what the fuck? Because you know what she's never seen before?
A venom.
And his head jerks up to look at us, and my heart seizes with pure, immovable terror. Distended red veins branch out from bloodshot eyes. Violet, Zayden roars. Venom.
Yeah. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous right now.
It is.
This is so just messed
I'm
up.
surprised Zayden just didn't at that moment go onto the field and just say fuck this shit. The fact that he didn't
also,
is amazingly
still
controlled.
10 minutes away eating, or like is he
at that point
now?
He's turned back, right?
I fucking hope so.
But still, who knows? He could be farther than 10 at this point.
I don't know if he can even help her really, because she can't leave the field.
Yeah,
but gosh, that's terrifying. Like, if the venom just wheeled right from the ground.
Like you said, she can still save herself if she needs to.
Yeah, but if the venom starts wielding right from the ground, will she even have time to save herself?
Right. So we don't know, because we have to stop at that point.
I know. What a terrible place to stop.
I know.
I did, while editing one of the last episode, I did think about the fact that Violet's mom must have still been at the college when they did the formation and took half of everybody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously everyone knows that happens at the end. By the end, leadership knows that half of them were taken, but she would have known right away. And then what does she do? Fly right off to Samara
to tell Mira specifically
and give everyone else the choice. So Violet has this thought, like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would my mom and Melgren just let them go like that? Did Melgren also think that, oh yes, you should go tell everyone that they have a choice to leave? Or did Violet's mom right at that moment be like, okay, they're starting a whole rebellion. If they have more people, less likely that we're gonna have to come after them to kill them. Before I get official approval or anyone can tell me to do or to not to do something, I'm just gonna go around and give everyone the choice and then just say, well, I thought it was for the best. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put that past her at all, just because of the way she's like, I do this all because I'm a mom, I'm there for you. She's gonna do whatever she can.
And going to Mira first and being like, I want my daughters on the same side. At least they can protect each other. Yep. Anyways, just thoughts I had while editing that I made a little note of here.
That's good. That's very good. Okay, good. Well, any closing thoughts? Do we want to throw a random prediction at the Venom, or you want to just...
Well, now that I think that if she does kill the Venom, that they maybe will get the Luminary. Before I was like trying to see like, what is this really just gonna be her?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, she better.
Right.
After this shit. So, anyways, I hope they actually get it and they don't just open discussions and then the discussion is no. Like, at that point, it better be like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to kill you and steal it then.
I mean, really? This indefensible structure that we can just take down with dragon fires?
We're already here.
I mean, not only do we have Taryn, we now have Segale.
Yes.
They're both
and
humongous.
two other dragons.
And 2 other dragons.
Yeah. Forget this crap. They better be leaving with Luminary at this point.
And as we know, Taryn can carry the Luminary even when he's offended.
Yeah.
Or whatever the word is.
Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. We have Instagram and Threads at Fourth Wing Pod that you can follow us on.
Mm-hmm. I did post something this week.
Yeah, now we're getting memes from our Discord, which you can find. You can submit your memes at the Discord.
Give us some content,
and we can post them because it's just so much easier than searching the internet for them.
She's just very politely not pointing out how completely lazy I am at this, but thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You can also rate and review our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, even if you don't follow us on Apple, you could, if you have an Apple, you don't have to pay anything to go onto the Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
And leave a review for us, which we, as you know, will read, which we don't have today to read. That's okay. We had one when we read one 3 days ago.
We are trying to do some back-to-back episodes.
Yeah, because I'm going to be out of town for a while, and so we're just trying to make sure we don't miss a week. But anyways, we're just done for today, and next episode we're going to be covering chapters 42 and 43.
Yes.
Yeah.
Join us next time, writers.
Bye.
Bye.